Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster is an RMC Raptor, actually the first ever Raptor model that RMC released, and is located at Six Flags Fiesta Texas in San Antonio. And this ride is a powerhouse. Short ride, only 1,800 feet of track, but man, does it make good use of that space. I had the opportunity to ride it 27 times in 2 days, and so I'm going to be discussing my experience on the ride in this review. Now, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that I've ridden and reviewed Railblazer already at California's Great America, which is a mirror image of Wonder Woman. So long story short, pretty much everything I had to say about Railblazer applies to Wonder Woman, but I decided to do a separate review for Wonder Woman just so I can add on to it. And there are just a few slight differences. Plus, the ride is awesome enough that I didn't mind talking about it again. Now, if you haven't ridden one of these things, Raptor tracks are single rail coasters. There's no one seated next to you, 8 people per train, 1 person per car, and the actual coaster track is about the size of a submarine sandwich. It is ridiculously thin, and not only does it save on steel costs because the actual rail partially acts as a support, so it's saving the park's money, but means the ride just feels naturally different than every other coaster you've ridden. There's no other way to explain it. I mean, just look at this footage. Do you see how fast the coaster's running? It looks sped up, but I promise it's not. I don't understand the physics behind it, but these rides run so fast, it is absolutely insane. When I left Fiesta Texas, I went as far as saying that I think Raptors are the most aggressive roller coasters I've ever ridden, and I've done over 700. Obviously, there's gonna be some people that disagree with me with that statement, but these rides are so fast-paced. It's fast-paced even for fast-paced rides. It whips you through every single element at an unbelievable speed. I mean, you look at this thing, it says 52 miles per hour. It does not feel like that at all. My favorite word to describe this ride is yank, because it yanks you through every single maneuver that you can't even comprehend what is happening until you hit the brake run. So when you go to ride Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster, be prepared for a very aggressive ride. This coaster is not for everyone. This ain't your grandma's thrill ride. This coaster will absolutely take your breath away. So let's kind of walk through the experience a bit. Starting things off with the entrance plaza, they've gone with a Greek style theme for the entrance and queue, which really fits with Wonder Woman's origin story. They have a statue of her in line along with panels straight out of a comic book that kind of explained Wonder Woman as a character. Plus, when you have the quarry wall backdrop, I mean, this coaster doesn't use it at all because the layout is meant to be cloned. Remember, this is the original Raptor layout, not Railblazer. Railblazer is the mirror of this, so that's why it doesn't go up onto the quarry wall. It would have been cool if it did, but I understand why it didn't. Fiesta Texas, in a way, is Six Flags' prototype park, and as of right now, it is the only park in the world that has 2 RMCs, with, of course, Iron Rattler being the other one. So when you enter this line, one of the first things you'll notice is the line moves rather fast, assuming there aren't any issues, because actually, when we first joined the line, it didn't move for like 5 minutes because there was some sort of problem going on. But when we came back later, the line was moving very fast because in the station, they have a moving loading platform, which is one of the differences between this and Railblazer. And it's something that I hope Jersey Devil has as well, because when the vehicle comes in, they'll one by one pop up the restraint, the rider will exit to the right, and the new rider will come in from the left and take their seat. And when they're running 3 trains on this, it essentially never stops moving. As soon as the previous train hits the brake run, the next one's already going up the lift hill. For my first ride, all the switchbacks were full and I waited probably 20-25 minutes. But by the end of the night, it was a total walk-on, which is how I managed to get 27 rides on this thing. I literally just stayed in my seat, which meant that I got to ride in every single row, several of them multiple times, so I really got a good feel for how the front varies from the back. If you want the most aggressive experience, definitely do the back. It is out of control like nothing else. But I also highly recommend the front. My first ride was in the front, but I definitely got the most rides in the back. And this is a coaster that you'll want to repeat more than once. Although one of the reasons why you might not want to do this a ton of times is it does have a hard seatbelt-like shoulder restraint that goes right over your collarbone, and it is not the most comfortable. It is pretty tight, and if you're doing this more than once, you'll probably get bruises on your collarbone. The strap is wide enough where if you kind of move it further away towards your shoulders, it does make it not quite as painful as compared to when it's closer to your neck. So that's probably the advice I'd give. But yeah, I can't can't say I'm a huge fan of how that strap is done. If RMC was able to pad them a bit closer to how Intamin does it with Intimidator 305, Maverick, Fahrenheit, Storm Runner, etc., I think that would definitely improve the vehicles. So you dispatch, you got a quick climb up to the top, you crest over, bank to the right as opposed to the left like you do on Railblazer, and you move sharply around that turnaround and drop straight into a 90-degree vertical drop. And keep in mind, this coaster is completely over water, and so when you're looking straight down, yeah, you're looking at the water for this, which is pretty cool. Your first inversion of 3 is a dive loop, and when you're sitting in the front seat for this, you pop up into ejector at the top and then whip into it. So that's one of the elements on this coaster that I actually prefer in the front. I think it just feels a bit crazier. But after that, you have a twisted airtime hill. It's all ejector airtime. Absolutely ridiculous. And it whips you into this crazy turnaround. You almost do like an S-bend, and then it levels out, and then you drop again. Following that, we have a cutback. That's your second inversion, and that leads you into your third inversion, a corkscrew. You bank to the right, and then hit the brake run. The whole thing happens in like less than a minute. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it is so fast-paced that you don't even realize what elements you're going through until after you already went through it. This is a ride that will take you a couple of times to really process the experience. It's ridiculous. Like, I rode this thing over and over again, and I kept on getting off saying, how does this exist? Like, I can't believe that this is allowed. It's so intense that I think it might even be a little much for me, which I tend to be pretty hardcore about these kind of things. I'm like, yeah, throw it all at me. But something like this, I'm like, dang, that's a lot, even for me. I can't imagine what some of the general public thinks of these things. I'm guessing they liked it because, yeah, it was a full queue earlier in the day. So should you plan on going out to ride an RMC Raptor, specifically Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster, the first RMC Raptor? Yes, especially if you like intense experiences. So for its final score, yeah, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. I don't like the shoulder straps, but that's my only complaint, and it's not enough of a complaint for me to look past the rest of the experience. I mean, riding in a single rail coaster where you're by yourself, it's a weird feeling, but I love it. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster as well as RMC Raptors? There's a new one debuting this year at Six Flags Great Adventure called Jersey Devil. I'll be sure to go and ride that thing as soon as I get the chance, and I'll have a review for it, so make sure to stay tuned for that as well as other coaster reviews here at Coaster Studios, and I'll see you next time.